From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A look this morning at the state's political landscape as Democrats gain an extra seat in the Montana House. But there's plenty unsettled with this in the Park County Area District. We're going to take a closer look at what's going on with that. Plus, Montana lawmakers are laying out their budget projections for the 2025 Montana legislature kicking off in January. They're reporting $1 billion anticipated surplus this year. And last week, Montana Department of Revenue staff reported that next year's reappraisal cycle could produce a partial repeat of last year's jarring tax spike as the state's surging real estate market continues to translate into higher residential taxes. We'll have all of those stories and more this morning. But first, here's a live look right now at the traffic jam headed into LAX as we've got folks headed to see their loved ones on this Thanksgiving holiday week. That is a thing of nightmares. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning. Yeah, I lived near there for a couple years.
They can keep that traffic.
They can keep that traffic.
Actually,
I lived down there during COVID, and actually the traffic wasn't too bad because nobody was on the roads. Yeah, it was a weird time. It was a little dystopian, but yeah, that is not the case this morning.
No, it's not.
This November 27th, we've got Thanksgiving tomorrow, Miller.
Yep.
And folks headed out. Lots going on.
And so far, we're not seeing any really delays for airports across the U.S. Down in Denver, I know a lot of folks flying to Denver. There may be some minor impacts. We do have some snow down there. Here, traveling across Montana today, we're looking okay. We do have, you want to check on the mountains and the passes for the snow reports there. But for the most part, we're doing okay, so impact should be minimal as we're driving out today. Let's take a step back in time. Yesterday, very seasonal. In fact, boom, 41 exactly where we should be. We hit that high between 2 and 3 o'clock yesterday. Last night, we did get down to about 18 degrees, or yesterday morning rather, so colder than average, but it warmed up as the morning went on. 21 miles an hour, actually, the top gust yesterday, and we could see some strong wind, gap float winds around Livingston tonight, later tonight, 30, 40, maybe up to 50 miles an hour as we get ready for this backdoor cold front that's going to be coming in. That's going to cool us down just in time for Thanksgiving. Moisture totals, snow totals, we're still in the hole. Maybe a little bit of moisture coming in for Thanksgiving Day for some. Maybe some will get lucky and get a white Thanksgiving this year. 33 right now at the airport, warming up just a bit. Feels like 22. Winds out of the northwest at about 17 miles an hour. See temperatures in the 20s and 30s. It is a chilly start, but getting colder for Thanksgiving. We'll take a look coming up.
All right, Miller, thanks for tracking all of those details. Lots going on in our forecast this week. And now let's take a look at the state's changing political landscape. Democrats gain an extra seat in the Montana House. However, there's plenty unsettled in this Park County Area District after the Associated Press called the race for Republican Marty Malone, only to realize the votes were wrong. Arlena Howder spoke with both candidates on their next steps and learns a recount may be on the way.
Political veteran Republican Marty Malone thought he had won his House District 57 race after Election Day, but thousands of provisional and resolution ballots came in late and actually swung the numbers in favor of Democrat newcomer Scott Rosenzweig. But it's not over yet, as Malone has officially asked for a recount.
After nearly 40 years as a public servant for Park County.
I was a county extension agent for 30 years and county commissioner for 8 years and legislator for 2 terms.
Republican Marty Malone isn't quite done throwing his hat in the ring.
I'm still 20 votes short, which is just 1 vote out of the mandatory recount thing. So basically, going to go forward with a recount and have to raise some cash to do so.
Just over $5,000 actually, about $2,500 per county, money out of his own pocket.
I owe it to my supporters who have stood behind me all the time.
The vote count in House District 57 currently sits at 3,803 for Democrat Scott Rosenzweig to 3,783 for Malone. Because of the redistricting process, District 57 replaced District 59, where Malone was the incumbent.
I'm disappointed in the way they redistrict in my world because we get rural votes in Park County and urban votes in Gallatin County. So it's basically 2 worlds.
Gallatin was not competitive. I mean, it was very Democrat and Park was very Republican, and the new district is very balanced.
A Bozeman resident for 20 years, it's Rosenzweig's first time running for office.
The people of Park County also stepped up to vote 77%. Where Gallatin only showed up at 73%, which also made it a little closer in the end.
Park County's recount will take place Wednesday, with Gallatin's to come in early December. Rosenzweig said he isn't losing sleep over them.
I'm not nervous at all. I feel very comfortable with the numbers. And that's why the state doesn't pay for this.
As he prepares to move forward with serving in the legislature.
I'm already in the process of learning how to be a new legislator, which means honing in on the bill topics that I'd like to submit.
Let's go through and see if we can come up with 11 more votes, what we need.
In Billings, Alina Howder, MTN News.
Alina, thanks so much. We'll keep an eye on that count. And as Montana lawmakers lay out their budget projections for the 2025 Montana legislature that starts in January, they're now reporting an expected $1 billion surplus. The Revenue Interim Committee predicts they'll have $3.5 billion coming into the general fund, which means lawmakers will start the session with a hefty amount of money to spend, but not as much as it did during the last session when lawmakers had a surplus double of what it has now. The biggest source of revenue is the individual income tax, which declined as migration into Montana has slowed down. Growth also leveled off from other tax sources, including oil and gas production. Lawmakers hope to know the exact amount of revenue in March. And of course, that 2023 surplus also included a lot of COVID dollars that are now expired. Last week, Montana Department of Revenue staff reported that next year's reappraisal cycle could produce a partial repeat of last year's jarring tax spike as the state's surging real estate market continues to translate into higher residential taxes. This reporting is from the Montana Free Press. The Department of Revenue expects the market value of the average Montana residential property to be reappraised at 21% higher when it completes next year's reappraisal cycle. A staff economist with the state says that if the legislature doesn't rebalance state tax statutes, the higher values will likely result in the average residential tax bill rising by 11% next fall, while taxes stay roughly constant or fall on other types of property. Last year's reappraisal cycle saw the median residential property value increase by about 40%, producing a 21% increase in the median tax bill. This, according to a Montana Free Press analysis of Revenue Department data. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. Of course, that's going to be a big issue in the legislature this spring. Back here in Billings, two Billings nonprofits steeped in the city's history will get some much needed help with repairs after all. Billings City Council approved TIF funding for the Babcock Theater and the Billings Depot. As our Russ Riesinger learns, it's a big relief for both businesses after the council denied funding last summer.
They are two of the most iconic buildings in Billings, the Billings Depot and the Babcock Theater, having stood the test of time for well over a century. But both of the buildings, owned by the city and leased out to nonprofits, are also in desperate need of repairs.
I move to approve a grant from the Downtown Tax Increment Fund to Art House Management, LLC, in an amount up to $300,000.
After declining an application for TIF funds last August, City Council did an about-face at Monday's meeting.
If in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye.
There was a project that was not able to move forward, and that freed up about $600,000 of funding. So these are two projects that were one-time asks.
This is just huge for the Babcock and for Art House Billings. We just want to continue doing the work to keep this beloved historic theater safe and comfortable and open.
The old theater, built in 1907, is in need of numerous repairs, but the majority will go for the marquee.
That marquee is old and really needs to be rehabilitated and refreshed. We're not making any major changes. We love it just the way that it is, but we want to make sure that it stays up and safe for many, many years.
We use it for business meetings, weddings, special events.
Michelle Williams is executive director for the Billings Depot. The $75,000 in TIF will open the door to a $414,000 historic preservation grant for the depot that will be used for roof and sidewalk repairs, refinishing floors and doors, as well as other projects.
We spend a lot of time and effort and resources maintaining the campus, and that's why we undertake one major project every year. And with the help of the grant and the TIF funds, we're lucky in that we can now take on a bunch of those projects all at once.
Mayor Bill Cole calls the buildings critical to the Billings community, historically, culturally, and economically.
That injects millions of dollars into our downtown economy. How many restaurants wouldn't exist if we didn't have the Babcock and the Depot?
Again, that was Q2's Russ Riesinger. And now in some international headlines. Fresh off his final G7 summit, Secretary of State Antony Blinken is visiting Vatican City today. In his final press availability at the G7 summit, Blinken reiterated the U.S.'s commitment to Ukraine and spoke at length about the need for ceasefire deals in the Middle East. Today, Blinken is meeting with Pope Francis, Cardinal Parolin, and Cardinal Gallagher to discuss major global issues like the wars in Gaza and Ukraine. Blinken's last visit to Vatican City was in 2021, where the two discussed international humanitarian needs and climate change. And the National Association of Realtors is expected to release new data today on pending home sales for the month of October. It's a key indicator of the health of the housing market, and it's based on signed contracts for single-family homes and condos. In September, pending home sales rose by 7.4%. Last week, we learned that existing home sales grew by 3.4% in October. And get excited for a beloved holiday tradition. The annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is right around the corner. Today, crews are busy at work inflating those massive parade balloons. There will be 6 new character balloons this year, including Minnie Mouse, Paw Patrol, and Spider-Man. Each balloon takes about 90 minutes to inflate. The parade will feature a total of 17 balloons along with marching bands, floats, and more. Buying local during the holidays keeps the money moving in our local economy and in turn pays wages, building a stronger local community. And that's why Big Sky Development is asking you to shop local this year as opposed to online or at a big box store. As our Charlie Kleps reports, we all want a thriving Billings, but it's hard to know where to start. So perhaps a gift guide can help.
If you're downtown, there's storefronts almost everywhere you look. But if you're not, the city has now created a way for you to virtually shop and find out whatever holiday deals the local businesses have downtown. It isn't easy owning your own local business these days.
It's really easy for people to get on their phones and just do the Amazon thing.
The increase in online shopping adding challenges to small stores in downtown Billings.
It affects every business. I know it does. I mean, even for me as a consumer, it's tempting to go to Amazon.
Downtown West End businesses locally here are shutting down because we're not shopping local.
It's something on the minds of local business owners like Lucy Aspinwall and Jennifer Dillabaugh, who constantly are competing with the larger chains as more and more local stores struggle.
We need people to hear about our business, to be able to come and be patrons of them.
It's something not lost on Kayla Volkrel either. She works for Big Sky Economic Development and came up with an idea to try and help.
We have over 40 businesses that are participating.
46 to be exact in the group's inaugural holiday gift guide, highlighting a few products and holiday specials at different stores around the community as well as other events.
It's a way to celebrate and support these amazing small businesses that makes our community unique.
The 63-page guide is completely virtual. The link has been posted to the Big Sky EDA's Facebook page and is also posted on their website and will be open and active until the new year.
So some of them have events that are going for Small Business Saturday. Some of them are doing Black Friday specials. Some of them are just doing specials for the whole holiday season. So you get to see all of that.
An idea well received by business owners who are hoping leads to a new trend.
I think it's going to be very valuable to the community, a great way to keep our resources right here where we live.
And now we just need the Billings community to say, we're going to take action.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.